Sacramento's engaging in the usurpation of local control.
This is the right thing to do. You know, I was elected mayor to keep the Constitution, to uphold the Constitution, and to keep our community safe.
So why does the man behind California's sanctuary bill think the law is a good idea? California State Senate Leader Kevin DeLeon joins me now. Kevin, thanks for joining us. So I'm not a believer in impugning motives. I believe you passed this bill because you thought it would better your state. What's your motivation for a sanctuary state bill?
Well, Pete, a couple things. One, I want to say good morning and greetings from the great state of California. A couple things. One is that what we want to do in California is make sure that those who enforce federal immigration laws will do their job. Those who will protect and serve our local communities throughout the state of California will do their job. So in other words, there should be a separation between the duties of the federal government and the duties of our local police officers. Our police officers are here to protect and serve our local communities. One point I want to make, it's very important, Pete, is that we don't want crime to increase. Therefore, we don't want immigrant families who perhaps are a witness to a crime or worse, a victim to a crime, afraid of calling police officers because they may be turned in over to ICE agents. So that's why it's really important that we protect our communities, and also at the same time, those who have committed violent felonies, they should be gone from this country.
So I hear that line a lot, but what you're effectively saying is we want local law enforcement to deal with this, and if an illegal commits a crime, we're not going to notify the feds to retain that person, even if they've committed a crime. So how does that make your community safer by ignoring federal law and, frankly, applying it unequally to illegals than to citizens?
Well, let me say this, Pete. I'm glad you brought up this point. There's some misconceptions, some really gross misconceptions about this measure that has unfortunately been perpetuated from the White House and specifically from the Department of Justice, Jeff Sessions and his team. The reality is this: there is a list of more than 800 crimes on my bill, in my bill, Senate Bill 54, that if you are a criminal violent felon and you have committed 800 crimes or any of the crimes on the list, ICE, local police officers, I should say, can collaborate, can cooperate with ICE agents.
Or will,
it's very clear.
So states are opting not to, though. That's the point. The problem is a local law official has a latitude to choose not to. And is entering this country without lawful means an illegal act in and of itself?
Entering this country is a civil offense. And one of the biggest problems with this issue, entering this country is a civil offense. Let me be very clear. It's not a criminal offense. Let me be very clear about one thing, Pete. I think you and I will agree that we have a dysfunctional and we have a broken immigration system. No question about it. Whether you're on the right or whether you're on the left, whether you're points in between, if you're agnostic to politics altogether. The Congress, both Democrats as well as Republicans, and this president, Donald Trump, has to do something about it. The fact is that sending military men and women who are highly trained to protect Americans, not just on American soil, but throughout the world, sending them to the border makes utterly no sense, especially given the fact that border crossings are, in fact, at a 50-year low.
San Diego County is about to vote to opt out of your bill or want to opt out of your bill. They've benefited from a border wall. When you make these arguments, do you think about the family living on the other side of the fence, 50, 100 meters away, who have people, whether they're trafficking in drugs or trafficking in humans or bringing violence or coming here peacefully, literally infiltrating their neighborhoods, their backyards? What about that local California citizen who's here legally, wants to live peacefully, and feels like they're being invaded? Is not a wall a proper way to address that problem?
Well, Pete, let me say this. I grew up on the border. I grew up in San Diego, adjacent to Tijuana, our neighbors to the south of us, and I can tell you this. Let me give you a statistical fact that perhaps folks on Fox and Friends may not convey to the rest of America. Border crossings to the United States is at a 50-year low. If it's at a 50-year low, you explain to me why it would make sense for the taxpayers to send our National Guard.
200% more people were apprehended in March.
Would it be from Arizona?
From illegal crossings than were apprehended in March of 2017. So we still have a porous border. We still have crimes being committed by illegals. This remains a problem. And we're going to play some sound from Don Rosenberg. He's a co-founder of Fight Sanctuary State. He obviously disagrees adamantly with you. His son, Drew, was killed by an illegal. They've got a different point of view. Listen.
The misnomer about this sanctuary state law is that it doesn't protect illegal aliens at all. It only protects illegal aliens who have committed crimes. And it clearly is a a blight on public safety. I mean, releasing criminals back into the community, and then these people telling us that that's going to make cities safer is outrageous and ridiculous.
Kevin, many of these parents, it's not the first time they cross the border. It's the second or third or fourth time after being deported multiple times. You call those civil offenses. Wouldn't you say it's illegal to cross 2, 3, 4 times? And what do you say to those families?
Well, I would say to those families who have lost their loved ones, my heart goes out to them. These are tragedies that should have never taken place. If, in fact, you are an immigrant, it doesn't make a difference who you are and where you come from, whether you're from Ireland, whether you're from Canada, China, or south of the border. If you are a violent criminal felon, you should be in prison. That's just the bottom line. I've always taken a position that if you commit a crime in California, or for that matter, any part of the country, you shouldn't be deported that quickly, that easily. You should do your time in our prison system. Why should we reward you by actually sending you back to your country of origin? But let me get back to the point that's very critical to understand. Wasting taxpayer dollars on the border when immigration is at an all-time low.
Kevin, I had a viewer ask me,
half a century.
What does it cost per legal resident in California to support one illegal resident who do receive welfare benefits? So you can play the cost card.
Let me say this.
Kevin, I want to finish with where I started, though. We'll disagree, of course, in the way we spend taxpayer dollars. We're going to put up a full screen. I talked about not wanting to impugn motives. There are a couple of things you've said about illegal immigration in the past. And I want to go to the second statement that you made, basically saying that anyone who wants the wall, can we put the screen up? I don't know if we have it. The middle one there. Sessions and the Trump administration are basing their law enforcement policies on principles of white supremacy. So if I believe in rule of law, if I believe in the wall, why does that make me a white supremacist?
No, I'm not saying that you yourself, Pete, are a white supremacist.
Or President Trump or Jeff Sessions.
But let me go back. Give me an opportunity to finish my point. I'm not saying those who perhaps believe that we should build a physical structure on the southern border believe in white supremacy. What I said very specifically and clearly is this president, Donald J. Trump, and this Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, their policies are driven by white supremacy.
So how do you have a debate when that's you're calling them racists, and so therefore there's no way to have a debate about this? I mean, I think you can have a policy debate about taxpayer dollars. Kevin, we unfortunately have to leave it right there. Kevin DeLeon, I appreciate you coming on our program.
Let's do it again.
I really do. I'd like to do it again. You got it. It's a date.